Good evening, everyone. Buenas noches a todos. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Today is Two Thurs Friday. Two Thors Friday. Two Thursday Friday. Two Thors Friday. Yeah, there you go. Two Thors Friday. Today is a special day. I'm going out with a friend of mine's, and we're gonna go and watch Wonder Woman 1984. I am very curious of how this movie goes. I've seen the movie came out last weekend. I think Friday. It was available in theaters and in HBO Max. And I'm going with a friend of mine, like I said, and we're gonna go check it out. Now I've heard that it's bad, but I need to see it for myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch it with watching it blindly, and I will give you my thoughts. So I have a friend waiting for me, and I cannot wait for my friend. So I will see you guys in a few.
A few moments later.
All right, so it has been some time, at least almost 2 weeks since the movie came out, and I watched it, and I did not like it. I actually hated the movie. It was such a drag, to be honest. It almost felt like I was watching The Last Jedi again. It was just a really slow burn. I mean, you can really feel those 2.5 hours. It was just simply insane. And I remember when that happened when I was watching Alita. It's great movie, to be honest. But the thing is that it was just simply too lengthy to be a first part movie. It would have been interesting if it was cut in half. Say the first half, or basically the hour and a half, could have been just her getting to know everything, and the second one would have been of her going to Murder Ball, and that could have been it. But that's for another time. So in this one, I went out on a date with a lady friend, and it was so funny because my date and I, we were holding hands while watching a movie, and we both were falling asleep. I kid you not. She was like this, and she was just sleeping, and then she would shake up, thinking that I woke her up, or that she woke herself up because she thought that she was being offensive, like, I'm taking you out, and this is what you get. This is what I'm getting, is a bored woman. No, I did not woke her up at all. I was falling asleep as well, too. It was a very long, boring movie. And the thing is that the first one was about the same running time as the second one. It's just that the first one had more action to it. It had more, like, it kept on moving. It went to a good pace. But this one, it felt really stretched out. They really, really stretched them out big time. And they say that the action time is about 30 minutes. So you basically get 2 hours of bullshit, which is actually quite boring, to be honest with you. I would rather watch a 30-minute action-oriented show of Wonder Woman kicking ass. So, here's the thing. So this takes place in the 1984, obviously. But it doesn't feel like it is from the 80s. It doesn't. It feels like it could have been modern day. You would think that after the success of... with the success of Stranger Things and other 80s themed shows, that it would knock it out. It would knock it home. But it's just... the 80s scenes was kind of scattered, and it didn't really feel like there's some, like, for me, I was born in 83, so know some things that could have been going on around the 80s, around the early 80s. But the thing is that, especially in the arcade scene, there was a lot of games, or a lot of arcades that was released post 84, so that kind of made it feel a bit more historically inaccurate. It would have been better if this said Wonder Woman 1980s, and it could have been a lot more sense. But for me, the 80s theme, it felt like something that came out from Back to the Future Part 2, when Marty McFly enters the cafe, the 80s cafe theme diner. You know, I could see that being possible. Like, okay, if they, you know, like it takes place maybe in the late 80s, like say 89, it would have made more sense. But no, it just did not look, didn't feel like it. So let's go ahead and get into the synopsis, the plot of the movie. So here's the thing. It takes place. Okay, so the story takes place where young Diana competes in this Themyscirian ninja warrior type of event, and it's her very young. I think we're looking at maybe a good 8 to 10 years old, competing with Amazonians who are perhaps in their late teens and older. So for some reason they let her compete. So she's going through this hole, she's doing all this apparatus, such and such, and for some reason you're kind of rooting for her. Like, yeah, young Diana, you're going to make it, you're going to make it. But along the way, when she rides her horse, she gets distracted and she gets knocked out of her horse by a branch or something. Now, for me, I thought because of her distractions, it caused her to lose the tournament. And I thought that was going to end, and then it will go to the modern, or to the 80s. But no, it decided to keep going. So she finds the shortcut. She rides back on her horse. Now the thing is that for every time you hit a check mark or checkpoint, this banner gets lower and lower, and whoever hits the bottom of it wins. So throughout the course, they're hitting checkpoints here and there, and you definitely can see, and they're all indicated by their colors. So Diana was catching up pretty good. But then, because of her distraction, she got knocked off the checkpoint. So, even if she was to win, technically she wouldn't win at all because she did not hit the checkpoints. So, like I said, she gets back to her horse, and then she was about to shoot the javelin. But then, I believe Hippolyta yanks her out of the spear shooting, and says this of no winner or ruler or leader can build up of lies or something like that. It was supposed to be of a lesson. It's like, don't lie, don't cheat. And so in this one, they said that, you know, your time will come eventually. So fast forward, and now we're in the early 80s. And like I said, it doesn't feel like the 80s. It's basically something that could have been placed on any modern time or at an earlier time, because trust me, they just, the removal of cell phones or any modern day technology made it look like semi-retro. Could have taken place in the mid-90s, late 90s, but no, it decided to make it in 84. There wasn't anything that really caught my attention, as opposed to Stranger Things that had the attire, it had the music. They would have nailed it if they played any 80s songs at all. They would have knocked it out, because there were so many good 80s songs. But they couldn't. I don't know why, but they couldn't, or they didn't. So we go into this jewelry store, and we have a couple of thieves about to go sell it. Hey, you know what? We're here to go ahead and steal your exotics, your exotic treasures. that's from black market, some shit like that. And the manager points them out to where they're supposed to take them. So they see all these exotic goods, and they start putting them in the bag and stuff like that. And so the camera gets focused on a specific item, which will be mentioned later on. And now this was not like closing time or closing hours. No, this was in broad daylight. We're talking about like somewhat time after noon. And in broad daylight, these thieves come by and they start stealing stuff, like I said, and then they're about to head out. And, you know, the thing about doing a heist, you gotta play it calm, you gotta play it cool, you gotta play it smooth. You don't want to look, what is that word called? You don't want to look conspicuous, or look suspicious. That's the word, suspicious. So, you're supposed to blend in, but some dumbass decides to drop this gun, which is basically a reference to the Joker from Joaquin Phoenix, in which he would be dancing around and drop his gun. And this one, different dumbass, you know, drops the gun, and everyone's in panic mode. They say, you know what, forget it, let's just head out. And then all of a sudden, it goes out of control. The heist goes bust. And so one of the criminals decided to grab the girl over the rail. So he's pulling a Michael Jackson move over the rail, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to go back to jail," or something like that. Even his thieving colleagues are telling him not to do it, don't do it. And it's like, oh, it looked really dumb. So then later on, this lasso of truth comes out. This lasso, and that's Wonder Woman. So I'm getting excited, like, okay, she's about to kick ass. Now, here's another thing that really threw me off, is that she's been kind of blending in with the others for 1917 to basically modern time, which Justice League takes place. Now, there's a scene right there that Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne talks to Diane about, oh, you know, you've been hiding in the shadows for 70 years and such. Don't tell me about something else. I can't really exactly remember, but there will be a scene that will show you. So, once again, like I said, this is in broad daylight, in the middle of the fucking mall. Not outside, not in the back, not in the alley. No, right there in the fucking middle. Everything is going out of control. We have Diane just using her tiara and breaking all the cameras, which just makes no sense because there's, I don't know, fucking hundreds of people in the mall. And then there's this young black girl, you know, she's cute, you know, adorable. But then again, you know, she's there, you know, she's around, she winks, but I'm like, why is she there? What was the sole purpose of her being there? It could have been interesting if it was her and then some other girl or some other guy or someone, you know, random people acting. So, after she breaks the cameras, she starts doing this silly kind of Linda Carter Wonder Woman gag or scene in which she would throw guys and does all this silly ass shit. You can definitely tell that this is a bit more of a bright and campy as opposed to its dark and edgy counterpart or predecessor, since the first one was a lot, you know, it was more war based. So then, after some campy Batman and Robin moments, there's a scene. I was really confused. So I believe it's one of the thieves who had the girl over the rail. he gets tied up with the lasso, which just makes sense. But then there is a scene in which he's tied up, but not really tied up. There's this little scene right there. I'm not sure, but it's after Wonder Woman grabs the last thief by the leg. See that his foot is right here, and she has him like right here by the ankle. And as the camera slowly zooms out, there's the guy who's like doing this without nothing being tied up or nothing being wrapped up around him. Now I know that the Lasso of Truth is CGI animated. It's really lively. It's really, how should I say, flexible. But right there is like, you can't really do this if you don't have anything wrapped around you. I mean, not even tape, not even cuffs or anything like that. No, it was just simply like this. Like he's shivering. So then we skip the scene, right? Now, there are 3 characters being focused onto this movie. You have Barbara Minerva, who's played by Kristen Wiig. And then we have Pedro Pascal. For ones who don't know, he plays as Oberyn Martell in the Game of Thrones. He's the guy who loses his eyes when he gets crushed, when he gets his brain crushed by the mountain. So we have this character, and I will tell you this, both actors, they did a great job of portraying the characters, but then I feel like something was thrown, like something was different from here. Now, the cheetah character has been changed a lot throughout the course, because I believe there's 4 incarnations. There's 4 people who become the cheetah, but this one is Barbara Minerva, which is, I believe she's the 3rd incarnation of cheetah. So I'm seeing Kristen Wiig, and she has this type of Selena Kyle kind of sloppy, ratchet type of outfit. You know, she's wearing all this outfit that looks like something that I would see from a bookstore or from a librarian. She looks off, you know, and she's clumsy as fuck. She drops shit. She doesn't know how to walk in heels. She is one of those really awkward people that you just don't want to have a second to talk to. But the thing is that she does this in all of her movies. Kind of the awkward woman. And I just said to myself, why can I able the chance to see her being this confident, you know, sexy, because she's kind of cute. But I think the only time that I have seen her being kind of sweet and cool would be in MacGruber. And that one's a different, that's to talk about for a different time. And so, and the other one, Pedro Pascal. Now this one he plays as Maxwell Lord. Now, I've never really deep into DC Comics. I rarely don't read that much of the retro comics of DC. And the thing is that Maxwell Lord is actually really good character. Has psychic powers. He was a leader of such and such. I'm not exactly sure specifically, but Neurotic really dropped the bomb on that one. It's like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. So thank you, Neurotic, for the heads up. I truly appreciate that. So, but in this one, he loses those. He's not that guy. He's someone. He's basically a how should I put this? He's more of a watered down version of a 80s yuppie tycoon. Now, like I said, during the 80s, there was a lot of, like, you know, big money, big, you know, Wall Street and all that shit. However, they say it, according to what Patty Jenkins said, is that she took inspiration from Donald Trump to put into this character, and that kind of threw me off because I'm like, well, Maxwell Lord already has a personality, he already has a story. Why tweak him out to a certain degree to become something that is not him? So that kind of threw me off because for me, I was seeing I was just looking at Gordon Gekko from Wall Street, who was played by Michael Douglas. So I didn't really catch any Trump vibes until near the end, which will be talked about later. And so he's basically a crumbling, falling apart tycoon. Lost his oil fields are drying up. All of his partners are not helping him out. He's slowly losing money. He's losing interest. He's losing customers. He is basically on this bottom low and the lowest of the low. And he has his son named Alistair who tries to impress him that he is not a loser and all that stuff. So there's some part that I could understand him. I could relate from him because I believe we all have been to this situation. Now, what really threw me off about this movie is simply the item itself. Now, this is basically a really weird one because at first I was like, okay, that looks interesting, but then again I'm like, okay, there's got to be a catch. Now, later on, we finally get to see Diane and Minerva gain to meet each other, and they finally get some cool stuff from the FBI. And one of these items is called the Dreamstone. Now, this one, since the Dreamstone does play a major role throughout the course of the movie, this one could have been mentioned Wonder Woman and the Curse of the Dreamstone. Something like that. It would have made more sense. Could have been taking place at any time, any place. So then, they read the article, they read the story behind the Dreamstone and such, and it's written in Latin. She could read Latin. And for every time when a dream is being mentioned, this weird breeze comes out, or a gust of wind, like, and I'm like, who turned on the fan? And the thing is that everyone thinks that's bullshit. And then Barbara, the thing is that, Diane holds the stone and she just kind of closes her eyes. It's like, yeah, I wish it would be nice to have someone back. And like I said, wind gust blows over. So the thing is that they don't really believe that that's true. But funny is that Gordon Gekko, yeah, pretty much. He's in Lois and he's Lois, like I said, and he's looking for a kind of a pick-me-up, a boost. So he sees this stone. He puts on money, extra money for the for the item, or for the charity for the Smithsonian, since that's where Diane does in her when she's not kicking ass. She's a geologist at the Smithsonian Museum. And Barbara, helps them out. They get kind of awkward, and then they decide to go ahead and hang out. But the thing is that Maxwell Lord kind of sees these Dreamstone as if he has some sort of a story or history behind it, which it's never mentioned at all. Never mentioned at all. Which would have been interesting if Maxwell Lord hired the thieves to take the item, take the Dreamstone as well. But that's never mentioned, that's never shown. So, I don't know, a rich tycoon being, or basically a tycoon being interested of an item like that that could be hocus pocus bullshit. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's like saying if Jeff Bezos finds a unique lamp and says, "Ooh, I must have that one." But the thing is, they throw a party, and throughout the course, when Minerva holds the Dreamstone, she kind of wishes to be like Diane. Like, oh, if I wish to be Diane, as strong and as confident and all this stuff, you know. So then that's whatever. You know, like I said, you know, everyone thinks that I wish to have something like that. And like I said, there's this party going on. I don't know why, of something like that. And oh my God, Diane wears this Gal Gadot. I think she's the most attractive Israeli woman since, I would have to say, since Natalie Portman. I had a crush with Natalie Portman since The Professional went, because I saw her grow up from, because I believe she was 14 and I was 12. I think I was like 11 or 12 at that time when I first saw the movie. But just seeing Gal Gadot being dressed up in this elegant white gown, I'm like, phew, I need a breather. I need to take a time out. So throughout the course, you know, guys are hitting on her, right? Guys are want to talk to her and such, and she's like saying "fuck off" to everyone. Like, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Not even a simple, oh hi, nice to meet you, I'm such and such, I'm from such a company and so on. She doesn't get, you know, she doesn't get that. She's more like the fuck off, like, I don't need you, fuck off type of vibe. And then out of nowhere, this random asshole says, "Oh, Diane, it's me. I've been wanting to talk to you." And even I'm like, who the fuck is this white nigga right here? It's never mentioned earlier in the movie. It's never shown. It's never mentioned. It's just some random ass white nigga talking to Diane. It says that I've been searching for you for years. Okay, so if this guy was from World War One, this guy has to be around his... Well, it's been 70 years, so this guy has to be at least old. At least, even if he was in his 80s, he had to be in his 20s. He has to be at least 100. 80, 90, 100 years old. Because it's such a gap. It's such a huge gap. But, no, it's just some young nigga, young white nigga. He's probably in his, say... late 30s, mid 40s, comes by, talks to her, hands her this watch, and you definitely see the transition of this white nigga, random white nigga, to Chris Pine. So now we're playing either one of two cards, either Heaven Can't Wait or Down to Earth, which basically Down to Earth is a remake of which Down to Earth is a remake to Heaven Can Wait. But I feel like this could have been done so much better. And the movies that I've seen before, there's this other movie called Jojo Rabbit. This is based on a book, but this movie was written and directed by Taika Waititi, the same guy who did Thor Ragnarok. And in this movie, the titular character has certain admiration to Adolf Hitler. And so he gets kind of this visual image of Adolf Hitler, that he's talking to him, he's interacting with him. That dialogue, that could have been possible. Because, as you can see, as in case you've seen the first one, Steve Trevor dies. So it could have been that his soul was simply reanimated, or one of them could be simply a visual image of Steve Trevor talking and interacting with Diane, in which an occasion Diane will be caught talking to herself and people would be like, "Hey, are you okay? Who are you talking to?" And such. That could have been an excellent way, or simply being brought back to the dead and have this, being resurrected. However, the thing about this of the Dreamstone compared to other movies, especially Disney's Aladdin. Now, the genie does mention that I could grant you any wishes, but only 3 you cannot. 3 I simply cannot grant you. 1, to wish someone's death. 2, to force someone to fall in love, and 3, cannot bring anyone back to the dead. So those are the 3 limitations. But besides that, anything goes. But here, the Dreamstone basically is whatever the fuck you want to wish for. So it plays more of Fairly Odd Parents as opposed to Aladdin's rules. So you could wish whatever the fuck you want, but in exchange something bad was going to happen. So there is this type of monkey paw element, which is mentioned mostly all the videos. Even in the movies, it's mentioned. And so Diane gets her wish. She gets Steve Trevor. Later on the next day, Minerva, after fooling around with Maxwell Lord, she wakes up and opens the fridge only to accidentally yank it off from the ledge or the hinge, which for me was kind of funny because how often you just say, "Hey, I'm kind of thirsty. I'm gonna go open the fridge," and only to break it apart. So for me, I kind of find it funny. Maxwell Lord gets some connections, gets some oil done. In exchange, he does something beyond. After fooling around with Minerva, he takes it home or takes it to his office, and he wishes to become the Dreamstone. So the Dreamstone itself dissolves, and he becomes this human Dreamstone to grant anyone's wishes in exchange to take something from them. So now I feel like it's Wishmaster for some reason. I love the first one, but I'm catching vibes from the Wishmaster that he'll grant you your wish, but it's going to take something in return. So he starts getting all these, he starts making all these bizarre deals, businesses with other people. And now, after all these things going on, now we're going to Diane. Diane has a great time with Ghost Trevor, and they decide to get intimate. So they fuck. Diane fucked a ghost. So here's what everyone's talking about is simply that Diane fucked this random white nigga out of nowhere. And the thing is, of course, when it comes to sex, it has to be consensual. It has to be between that both parties are okay with it in order to have fun. But this one, this one's bizarre because the thing is they go meet up to this guy's place, alright? So Chris Pine notices that he's not Steve Trevor himself. He is borrowing this random white nigga. And so they say, "Hey, look at this. This is so cool," and stuff and such. And they would fuck later on that night. So Diane just fuck a random white nigga. So technically, in technical terms, it is called rape. And then perhaps even necrophilia, since, well, I wouldn't say necrophilia because it's not really a corpse, but then again, I don't know, ghost rape? So, rape a ghost. She wakes up and they basically wakes up with Steve Trevor eating Pop-Tarts and say like, "Oh my god, this is delicious." And they start getting to know that, hey, because she knew about what's going on. Like, she knew that this guy was not Steve Trevor, that is just simply a body being loaned by Steve Trevor. And then Steve Trevor knows that he's not him, he's borrowing. So both sides knew that this body is just there like a fuck toy. It's basically a living sex doll, and they're okay with that. No, it's not okay at all. Like, at all. So now Maxworth's gained connections. He's making businesses and deals with other businessmen, and now he's taking out oils. And now remember, this is a guy who just wanted the simpler terms, simple things, just to have oil in his fields, and that is it. So he takes some deals. He takes the oils from this guy that he was supposed to be his partner, and he's already having money. He already has his oil fields and his land. Now he controls most, if not all, of the oil fields in the country. I'm actually quite okay with that. I mean, if I was, because you're already a millionaire, billionaire with all that oil across the country. I'm content with that. But then they play the Gordon Gekko card so much here, it's ridiculous. Even Gekko is like, hey, calm down, that's a little too much, you're going overboard. So now, because of his businesses, he can't handle, his secretary can't handle all this calls. So then he asks her, like, what do you wish? Do you wish to have more people? So then mysteriously people are coming into the office, asking for jobs, looking for jobs, and she's taken care of. But now he hears that there's some businesses in Egypt, which once again he's content with what he has. Which, if I were him, with the oil fields being, owning those oil fields, I should be content with that, because that's what I was looking for. But once again, the Gekko card is an infinite use. So he travels to Egypt, and then later on, that's for his. Now we're going to Diane's. And Diane's story is a bit interesting. It's a bit funny. We get to see Chris Pine being silly and funny, and starts wearing white niggas attire, fanny pack, flashy clothing, stuff like that, and him kind of fitted in around this modern day world of the 80s. For me, parts of it I was giggling because it was funny, but then again, it's something that I believe you've already have seen. Like, this guy could have seen this in his time. Like, there's a scene in which they fly a plane or fly a jet. Now, true, Steve Trevor was a pilot, but he was a World War I pilot with the biplane. Now, the mechanics of the biplane and the jet are completely different. So, here's the thing. So, they go out on a jet night to give him some fun. But the thing is this: they go to the Smithsonian, and they go to this plane museum. Now, this is where I'm kind of confused as well, because once a jet or certain planes are been retired, certain stuff are removed, engine fuel is cleaned out or emptied, motors dismantle or no longer in service, so that way it becomes simply more of an ornament as supposedly a fully functional plane. But somehow they found one, still good, still fuel and stuff like that. So the aerospace finds out that there's one of the planes being stolen or hijacked. So they call in the police and such and such. So here's where they where Diane introduces her invisible cloak. So she does this last airbender shit, right? He said that she did this a while time ago with the coffee cup and could never find it. So now she's going to try to do this with a much larger scale of fucking jet. So it blends in and just drives through fireworks, which I'm assuming is 4th of July. During 4th of July event, and there's fireworks being shot here and there. But here's the thing. Steve Sher is shocked of all the fireworks. But then again, here's the thing. Fireworks has been there since forever, since Independence Day, since the 1700s. So he had a chance to go to one of these fireworks. Even for me, there would be people. I mean, I'm no jet fighter, but when I go outside and I see the fireworks being shot at 4th of July, it's there. I could see them. I could literally see the fireworks there. But for him, it's like, you've seen them before. Why are you being shocked? So they managed to fly to Egypt later on, but here's the part that I'm very confused. I know some people that I know from school who served in the military, and the thing is, some of them, I'm assuming that one of them or two are pilots. But here's the thing, let's just say from D.C. to Egypt to Cairo, that is one hell of a flight. That's why sometimes they have to go to these Harriers, get refueled, and then head back. But somehow to go from point A to point B in a very, very large mileage is insane. Must be going for infinite. Maybe somehow along the way they refueled and went to Egypt. So then we're here now with Barbara's story. And it's, oh my God. So she starts building up this confidence of her, of now finding out of this bounty that was provided by because of the wish. And oh dear Lord, it is, part of me, I am just shocked, because like I said, it's so she starts going to, so now she pulls a Celine Kyle card from Batman Returns. She goes there and she starts buying outfits. And now she can walk in heels, which is now a unique skill that you're like, oh, I'm not confident like Diane. Now I have the ability to wear heels. And she started letting her hair down. She looks sexy. But then again, you could have done that anything, even given time, without without the Dreamstone. So later on, she goes to this gym and she works out. She's lifting up this 10-pounder. Now I lift weights too, so 10 pounds, depending how you do it, can be really light, and it can be sometimes a bit enduring. But she lifts it. She's curling it like it was nothing. Okay. Later on, she's now curling basically a 35 to 45 pounder. Still light. She's like, oh my God. So then she decides to go ahead and lift. I'm assuming she is lifting somewhere between 315 to 425, if I'm correct. Let me check. Yeah, because it was, I'm assuming it was 445s on each side. And then plus the bar itself. Now, if it's Olympic, it's definitely 45 pounds. Okay, hold on a sec. Let me just check. 405. Yeah, because it's 445s on each side. So that's 8 45s plus the bar itself. So she cleanly Olympic lift 405 overhead. Now remember, this girl is really skinny. She is a petite woman. She's probably about 115 to 120 pounds, and she cleanly lifted something basically 4 times her weight. And the guys in the back of her is being shocked and all, like, hey, this petite woman just easily lift. So for me, I'm like, okay, I could see that, you know, because she's wishing the strength of Diana, not knowing that Diane is someone else. So now we're in Cairo, and now Max Lord is still taking businesses, either businesses or soldiers or security, away from other businessmen. And Diane and Trevor try to stop him along that. But the thing is, it's so random. Instead of it was like so convenient. It was so like, hey, I bumped into you, knowing that Egypt itself is a very large country in Africa, and somehow out of nowhere they bumped into him, and now they try to get try to get Max Lord. Now here it feels like Spider-Man 2, because of her wish. She loses some of her powers and her endurance and her kind of immortality. She's slowly losing her powers, which is okay. I can understand that because of the wishing of the wish of the Dreamstone. But then the lasso, it felt like I'm watching Spider-Man 2, because the lasso's used like some fucking spider web. There is a scene in which one of the Egyptians shoots a gun or a cannon. I can't remember. Shoots something, and was going to hit to Trevor, who was driving the truck, and somehow Diane uses, and she's running. Okay, she's running, but the way how she ran is really awkward. Instead of pumping your arms like this, it's like this. It almost looked like she was a robot. That's basically how it was. I mean, I'm going to run like a robot. Instead of basically doing like in jog on track, you kind of jog, you know, you're pumping your arms like this. But, I don't know, I guess it's dynamics, or that you go faster like this. If that was the case, you could have just done Naruto run just like this. So she uses the lasso, like fucking spider web, wraps around the bullet and throws it off. And then she's trying to takes down one of the tanks, and sees like far away that there are 2 kids running around playing fucking soccer. Okay. Yeah, because, you know, that's what happens. You know, Egyptians get so bored, they decide, hey, let's go play soccer. So she sees this, and she wraps around her lasso to some sort of hook or beam or something, and picks up the kids. But remember, because of her strength and her durability, she's losing it. So her hand slips from the lasso, and she rolls with the ball with the kids. The thing is that this kid could have died because of the internal injuries, because of just the impact of herself, because of Diane's strength, and because she's super strong. So by picking up the kids in a certain manner, it would have crushed the kids' ribs, and then even more by rolling the ball, by rolling around. So they somehow loses Max Lord. So during that time, it's going out of control. You know, because at that time I believe that Egypt was in pacts with Morocco, and this was during the Cold War, so this is between the Soviets and Morocco, and like I said, it gets out of control. So then Diane calls Minerva. Minerva starts doing some checking some background of the Dreamstone's origins, and they say that usually when they obtain it, it is usually bad. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So then, now remember, they're in Egypt, so they have to fly back to Morocco. And guess what happens? They landed back to Morocco. It feels more it feels more like Assassin's Creed. Now, I've been playing Assassin's Creed for past, especially Valhalla. And the thing is, like, instead of you traveling manually from point A to point B, you could go to point A to point B with fast travel if you synchronize your viewpoints. This is what it felt like. It felt like I was fast traveling from Cairo to DC in an instant. Like, there's no time, duration. No, it was just simply, okay, we'll see you there. Even Minerva's like, wow, that was fast. So now Minerva's wearing this Lady Gaga outfit. You know, she's getting closer and closer to her cheetah-like attire. So they bump to this guy who happens to be a descendant of the Stones or some shit like that. And gets this book. It's about this thick. And opens them up and then tells about the story of the Dreamstone. Now, Diane is reading this, and then finds out that in order for the Dreamstone, in order for her to gain back her strength, or in order for her to in order to remove or take away the wish, you must renounce your wish. So in this case, she's upset. Minerva is slowly figuring out that she wished for that powers as well as Diane. So here's the thing. If they renounce their wish, they will lose whatever they ask for. So this is basically for her, because remember, she's now losing strength. She's not as strong as she used to. Now she can't be able to stop Maxwell Lord from gaining more power. And the thing is that she has to renounce her wish. She needs Trevor to disappear. And she doesn't want that to happen. She wants him around. She still wants this guy. She still wants to fuck this guy, even though it's still property of white nigga. While Barbara, on the other hand, doesn't want to renounce her wish because she's just already gaining all this popularity. She's already having this new confidence that's going on of her gaining super strength, being confident, being like Diane. If she renounces, she loses everything. She's going back to awkward Portlandia type of woman. And so none of them wants to renounce their wishes. But then this is where it gets bizarre, because now Maxwell is in DC and he's having all this, he's basically falling apart, because for every time he grants a wish, he's slowly losing his parts. I mean, his eyes are, bleeding. He's having bloodshot. His ears are bleeding. He's basically falling apart because of his being the human Dreamstone, which for some reason I was picking up Full Metal Alchemist vibes of him being the Philosopher's Stone. So he says, now we have some people asking him, talking to him like, okay, you got an appointment for this person, that person, this show and that show, and then you have an appointment with Alistair, his son. So it's like, I'm having Alistair again? And you get to see the silhouette of a youngster running away, as saying like, oh, he doesn't have time for me anymore. He doesn't want me around. So he gets this, there's this awkward moment. And then Maxwell Lord bumps into this guy who has connections with the White House. And so the White House, the guy says like, okay, I'll take you to the president. So during the 84 year, I believe this was a campaign. I believe this is a re-election, because at that time Ronald Reagan was president at that time. So somehow Maxwell Lord goes through all the security and has a chance to meet with the president, which does not look like Ronald Reagan at all. He looks like a fat bloated Martin Sheen. So Lord is there talking with president, and he's talking about like, oh, what do you wish for? And he's holding his hand. So holding the president's hands. National security is kind of like, hey, he's about to do something stupid, but he's asking for a wish. And the most bizarre thing about this wish, instead of the president saying, oh, I want to disarm nukes. Now remember, this is going out of control. There's riots going on. Very similar to what's going on here on modern days. So we have this stuff going on. There's just fights. And then they ask, Lord asks him, like, what do you wish for? What do you want? And the president says, I want more nukes to appear closer to the Soviet. And it's being granted. And so later on there's this drawing or the sketch of satellites and particles and touching. So somehow he takes authority of presidency and takes into this private bunker where the satellites are being take place, which they could be touching. Yeah, it sounds stupid. So then, out of nowhere, the Pentagon is getting all this, nukes are popping out of nowhere, like zits. There's just, and there's a scene that Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor are going there to stop Max Lord before it's too late. Now we have this fight scene between Cheetah and Diane. So these two are fighting each other. Now remember, Diane's losing power, so she doesn't have the same strength as she was in the first one. So there's this fight. Cheetah's just beating the shit out of Diane. And then Diane is telling her, hey, this is not going anywhere. You need to stop this. It's going out of control. And Cheetah says, I'm tired of being bumped around, kicked around, stuff like that. You always get everything that I want. I had to fight for it, and I'm not going to exchange. I am not going to renounce. I'm not going to give up my power. Ever. So now Cheetah and Max Lord, they go to Air Force One, or to this private copter. And I believe it's Air Force One, if I'm correct. I'm not sure. I forgot what it was. So they go there. And now the thing is that you only grant one wish. And so for some reason, Max asks Cheetah, what do you wish for? What is something that you always wanted to wish? And she says, oh, I wish to be an apex predator, or something like that. Now here, this is where it throws me off, because an apex predator could be anything. It could be a whale, cow, sea otter. I mean, you could really fuck her up real good if you put her into those categories. But I think by seeing her attire, kind of this cat-like attire, maybe that's what she wanted in the end, a cheetah. So I don't know. I it kind of threw me off. Now if she had a thing, like say if she had a pendant of a cheetah, or she has a thing for cheetahs, or something like that, then that could have been possible. But this one, if I was Max Lord, I would have made her into a cow. Made her an apex predator, because that's basically what it is. Cows are apex predators. Killer whale is also an apex predator too, but I digress. So now we're getting to this sad scene between Trevor and Diane, and Trevor knows that she cannot win this fight without renouncing her wish, and so you really get to see Gal Gadot's acting come in play. She does a great job being emotional, being sad, that now she has what she's looking for. She has what she's been looking for, but now in order to win, in order to prevail, she must lose that prized position. So now they have this kissing scene. Trevor says, I love you. I always have. She walks away teary-eyed and says, I renounce my wish. So now she's starting to jog. She starts picking up speed. Now she's getting strong. She's getting faster. She's picking up speed. And now she uses her lasso and she goes all the way to the heavens. Fucking super duper Spider-Man's her way to the heavens. And now she has the ability to fly. So basically, not only does she renounce her wish, she gets her current strength. She gets her current strength and powers, but she gets extra. I don't know. I mean, it's never mentioned earlier that she knew how to fly. This would have been interesting if she didn't for the third one of her now flying. But this one, like, she swings, and now she is flying. Now I know in Justice League the cartoons she flies. No problem with me, not whatsoever. I don't have a problem with that. But the thing is, it has to make sense. And here it's more like she sacrificed something. She got her powers back, and now she has extra. Okay. So then, meanwhile, in the private bunker, now we have Max Lord having all the power, and it has this background of the president of the White House, and now he has the power to tell. Now, here's what gets a little bit dumb. Now they're playing the Bruce Almighty card. Now, for ones who haven't seen Bruce Almighty, it stars this comedy movie starring with Jim Carrey, in which he has the powers of a god to make any prayer. Now, and there's a scene in which he says yes to all the prayers to say, you know what, I'm done. You know what, I'm done reading this and stuff like that. I just want to reply all of them. And he gets them, but the thing is, by granting everyone's prayer, it goes out of control. There's chaos. Now, now this gimmick is coming into play. And now Max Lord is wishing everyone to hold hands and wish what they want. So people from different parts of the world are asking him to be famous. Some of them to get caught by the police. Some of them to drop this. Some of them to be king. Some of them to drink more nukes. Most of them is really selfish. But some of them. But the thing is that not all people have selfish deeds or selfish goals. What if a kid was sick and needed a prayer to get better, or praying that, or wishing that everything goes well? Not everyone are assholes. This could have been interesting to have this kind of downside. Say, oh, I wish my dying son was fully recovered and stuff like that. But it's always negative. It's always negative. Bad thing. We're bad humans. We're all bad. And this huge gust of wind, it looks like a fucking tornado or hurricane. He's granting all his wishes from throughout the world, even though people who aren't exactly speak English or understand English, but somehow he has that power too to get that. And now there is this scene in which Trevor and Diane, before she renounced her wish, before they went to Washington D.C., that she has this plated armor that belonged to Aristia, if I'm correct. Let me check it out real quick. It's from one of the Amazonians, and let me check it out. Okay. Yeah, Asteria. I'm sorry. So, from Asteria. So, the thing is that this armor, this mystic armor, belonged to Asteria, and she sacrificed her life to protect the Amazonians from the clutches of men, from evil of men. And I believe in that scene, Spartans were trying to invade there. And she decides to, while she was flying, now remember she was still flying, so she flew back to her office to put on the armor of Asteria and travel to the bunker. It doesn't make sense because she renounced her powers. I mean, she renounced her wish. She got her powers plus flying, but still wanted to play it safe to go travel all the way back to the Smithsonian, grab her Asteria's armor, and then fly to the bunker. So now it's late at night. She's Batmaning her way, taking down the security, and now we have one of the worst CGI moments of the movie, and it's basically Kristen Wiig pulling off a Cats moment from the movie Cats, the CGI animated Cats, not Broadway Cats, and it did not look good. It looked like shit, and so it was the scenery was super dark. And I was like, oh my god, I can't even see anything. But I think that's the reason why, because the CGI was so shitty. So then they're having this fight scene. It felt kind of plain. It felt blood. And there's wires, there's cables being fallen, and it's slowly touching the water. It's slowly getting close to the water. Now in this scene, like I said, Diana's wearing the Asteria armor. She lets go of the wings, and they're fighting. And Diane's telling Cheetah to renounce her wish. And she's saying, no, I am not going to renounce my wish. And the cable slowly getting closer to electrocuting both of them. Now the thing is that the armor that she's wearing looks really metallic, and metal is an excellent conductor of water when it's electrocuted. So they're fighting, and then she says, you leave me no choice. So the cable hits the water and somehow does not electrocute Wonder Woman, but it does electrocute Cheetah. Now electrocution basically means death. I mean, you're basically being fried. But somehow she's only stunned and knocked unconscious. I don't get that. I don't think that's how electrocution works. So now Diane picks up Cheetah and puts her on the side, lies her down, and then she gets Max Lord. And so she can't really grab the lasso of truth because of the fucking hurricane of wishes that's being blown around. And it is just ridiculous. I don't know what was going on because I was already falling asleep by that time. Alright, so let me see what happens here. The lasso of truth to communicate with the world through him. Okay, so we're having this chat between Lord and Diane about the wishes and stuff like that, and that he feels like God. So then eventually he starts thinking about Alistair, and somehow Diane finds a way to wrap the lasso of truth to talk to Lord, telling them to renounce their wish. So now Max Lord has become more of the microphone of the megaphone of the world. Like I said, I was falling asleep in that scene. It felt so dumb. And slowly everyone starts renouncing their wishes. Max Lord decides to finally renounce his wish because he has gone way out of control when he sees what happened to Alistair, that he's wandering around the broken city of DC and he's lost and he doesn't know what he's doing. So he renounces his wishes, so he no longer becomes a Dreamstone, and everything kind of calms down. Everything goes kind of back to semi-normal. Somehow Cheetah is now human because I don't recall her renouncing her wish. So, whatever. So, somehow the Maxwell gets assistance from the government to drop him off with the kid randomly, out of nowhere, just coincidentally, just found him like, oh, there he is. And then starts talking about this. I just want to tell you that I'm a loser, that I'm good for nothing, and such and such. I was already sleeping by that time. And then time passes by, and it's already Christmas. And here's the thing. So it's basically in the holidays. Everyone's wandering around. And Diane is there just admiring the beauty of the scenery. And then there's random white nigga being random white nigga. So, hey, do you like this outfit? It looks good. And she's just smiling, saying like, hey, I fucked you a few times. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so awkward. I mean, it's not even like, oh, hi, I'm Diana, or hi, I'm random nigga. No, it's introductions are never brought up in here. We're never mentioned here. It had this awkward talk, like, hey, I just have a feeling that today's gonna be a good day, or something great is gonna happen. I'm like, yeah, you kind of did. You fucked her. That's what you did without knowing. And I mean, for me, I'm like, hey, I kind of fucked this guy. I might as well just get to know the real guy, But it's never mentioned. And, she's just smiling, then sees this red star floating, and movie ends. And in the mid-credits, there's this scene about trees about to fall on top of these kids. And then there's this woman with a blue gown, beautiful blue gown. And this woman just simply lifts, catches with her bare hand, and drops it somewhere else. And this woman asks her, thank you so much for saving my kids. Who are you? And it's fucking Linda Carter, the OG Wonder Woman, saying, my name is Asteria. And she looks beautiful, even though it's in her 60s. But who knows of how the third one's going to be set up between Asteria and Diane, two Wonder Woman in one movie. I don't know. But that is how the movie ends. I did not like it. I did not like it at all. It was boring. It was stupid. It didn't make no sense. Some parts is like, okay, you got this. Why do you need that? This wishes. There could have been limitations on the wishes. Maxwell Lord could have been his own villain for this movie, and then the third one could have been Cheetah, or simply Cheetah could have been the backup character, the backup antagonist, the co-antagonist, that she's just there, and then in the mid-credit or the end scenes, she becomes Cheetah. She becomes the antagonist for the third one. But this movie was just sloppy. I did not like it. They say that Patty Jenkins wrote part of the script, and she wasn't part of the script on the first one, so now you kind of see. Here's the thing about directors, is that sometimes when you know how to direct, you believe somehow that you're good at writing. You know who did that? Fucking Jar Jar Abrams and Rian Johnson. They wrote and directed Star Wars, and look what the fuck happened. So, no. I think she just needs to be good at directing, and that is it. Learn how to write, take some notes from someone else, wait until you're ready to write. But it was, like I said, the movie itself, especially in the first act, one of them could have been removed. The Themyscira Ninja Warrior could have been removed and let the mall scene on, or mall scene gone. Themyscira Amazon Ninja Warrior could have been placed. One or the other, but it's just both of them. No, it did not make sense. So overall, do I recommend this movie? If you have HBO Max, I strongly recommend you to watch it. That way you don't spend money. For me, I love going to movie theaters. It's perhaps the ultimate way how to watch a movie. I went out on a Tuesday, which I save a little bit extra money, so I save about like $10. So if I had to rate it between 1 through 5 stars, I would give this 2. It was bad. I fell asleep, like I said. Not really worth the money going to the movie theater. If you want to watch it in HBO Max, but don't spend your hard-earned money on this movie. It's not worth it. So that's it. That is my review for Wonder Woman 84. Sorry it was a little bit too long. I just needed to get everything out of the way. But hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any comments or thoughts based of this movie, let me know. I would love to read them when I have a chance. So you guys have a good day. Enjoy whatever's left over your Sunday, and I'll see you guys next time.